Just an innocent looking iPhone 7, right? Wrong. Double tap to turn on the glowing Apple logo. Press on it to cycle through modes. Pretty damn cool what you can do with this thing. And just have a glowing logo in the end if you want it. If you want to turn it off, double tap. It is a bit sad actually. Apple is shying away from one of their most iconic features in the past, the glowing Apple logo. But that can live on today in our iPhones. Guys, I wanted to show you a brand new guide on how to get a glowing Apple logo on your iPhone 7 or 7 Plus. Now this tutorial will focus mainly on the iPhone 7. I'll have a separate one up for the 7 Plus soon, but just wanted to go ahead and show you how you guys can do it on the cheap. The process I'm going to show you today doesn't require that you need any soldering skill or any OEM LEDs from a broken iPhone display or any thin insulated wire or anything like that. It's a very, very simple process. I'm actually going to be running through it for the very first time today on my iPhone 7 here, just to show you guys, even I, who have never disassembled an iPhone 7, can do it. So let me show you what I'm talking about. This is the brand new China version iPhone 7 glowing LED kit. This is what we get. If you guys remember, I pretty much showed you guys a very similar video to this, but it required an insane amount of skill. I mean, even I couldn't do something like that. Micro soldering these little tiny LEDs together, that's just ridiculously difficult. Now this solution, bypasses all of that with a easy, ready to go kit. And here they are. So 7 Plus, 7 logo, colorful breathing, the nighttime, personality, advocated. All right, so they come in multiple color versions too, but I did get a couple, one with just a flat color, white. So this is what it looks like right here. It's a lot different than the earlier ones we've seen in the past. It's a lot tidier, and the way it works is actually different too. So I'm going to pull it out here. Essentially, it's a pad with an LED on the back here, or a couple that we're just going to place on top of a plastic piece here. So this one comes with an adhesive inside, so it should be able to keep your water resistance. And we're going to talk about that too. This will not ruin your water resistance if it does it correctly, because I know, the iPhone 7's one of its biggest features for me is the fact that it can take splashes and stuff like that. So I'll take care of you guys in that case. But basically, this is it. You've got some controllers here. And the way this works is it attaches to your battery connection. Before in the past, we attached it to the display connection, which is a no-no. I mean, it's not very good in terms of durability and just overall reliability. So this is going to be much, much better. I'm excited to actually try it out and see how the results will be. We're ready to go. So let's start disassembly here on my iPhone 7. Now, warning, this, it's a little harsh. You do have to take your iPhone apart. It does require you to pay very, very close attention to these small details, but altogether, compared to other things I've done on this channel, this is a piece of cake. All we got to do is remove the battery, so that's it. Now, there are a couple of things I would recommend for this to make your life easier. Obviously, a good tool set. I've got an iFixit one, but you can even do it with a kit that it comes with if you order the little tiny tools. But this right here, battery stickers, OEM for your device, they're a few dollars on eBay. The actual waterproof seal so you can reinstall it and keep your water resistance, and a mat for your device to see where to place the screws just to keep track of them. It helps a lot. This is for the 6, but I don't have one for the 7, but this is a piece of cake. We don't have to remove much actually, just take the display off and remove the battery, and that's it. All right, so setting that aside, let's get to work here. So this is actually the iPhone from my flashlight video. I just wanted to do this on an iPhone that I can spare to kill if anything happens, but I'm pretty confident in my ability to do this. It still works. We can get a nice result from it. Instead of throwing this thing away, I'll show you guys a cool tutorial with it. Anyways, first things first, unscrew the 2 pentalobe screws on the bottom of the device. And it's a little tricky to get the display up. I'm going to talk about that in a second because it doesn't open up to the top anymore on the 7. It opens up to the side. So you want to be very, very careful opening this thing up. You don't want to tear those cables. Don't mind the battle scar of this iPhone, although it is pretty bad. So it does help to heat the phone with a hairdryer or a heat gun if you do have it, just because the seal is sticky and it'll keep this difficult raising the display. But essentially just like any other iPhone display, pull up, and it could take some pressure actually. Get a sponger tool in there and separate it all. And I got it. Guys, this is actually pretty difficult, so I would recommend heating up the border with a hairdryer, but it does help to go in from the side, not the very bottom. It's going to be very difficult to save the adhesive around the display, so definitely buy a replacement. You know, Trung in the original tutorial video was able to save it. I'm not that good, so just go around gently around the whole side of the phone, peel away the adhesive here, just like that, and the phone display begins to separate. Again, remember, we're opening to the sides, so be very, very gentle in how you're doing this. You don't want to crack your display. And I just cracked it, so clumsy me. Thing is, it already had a hairline crack on that side, and I believe on this side over here, so I think it was inevitable. But basically pull it out and over. So as you can see, there's these two little clamps here. You got to pull the display down and over. So yeah, don't take my example, guys. That was very, very bad. I'm sorry. This is so bad for this tutorial, but I promise stuff like this wouldn't happen if the display wasn't already compromised from this. Like, it literally separated the layers. Anyways, I could still continue with this tutorial, so just fold it out and basically take all of these screws out here in this panel here. This one, notice how it's curved. So when we're reinstalling it, we want to put the connector in with that curve so you can close the display. Anyways, gently, I'm gonna put a Phillips on and continue. So Apple does use a tri-pin connector here, so I want to make sure you have one of those. This isn't a standard Phillips. I, for some reason, didn't foresee that, didn't do the research. But I'm using a flathead to somehow pry them out. Don't be me, be prepared. Gently peel that away. And you want to, before unplugging all of these, go ahead and remove this little plate right here. It's held on by two Phillips. So this one doesn't use those little tries. Again, make sure to note the position of these screws as they may vary in size. Metal shielding off. All right, just like that. And these down here. So you've got a few, that one and that one. Cool, so the displays are now separated. You might have that glue sticking it together in some areas. Go ahead and just take that off. So basically very, very gently pry these off. The little stickers holding the battery. All right, I got it. And so gently wiggle it, pull it up and outwards, not like straight. And if you're lucky, it starts coming out on its own, which I never am. My goodness. Looks like the credit card method is back in business. Unplug the battery though before you do anything like that. Oh, this one is, I think, a little bit better. There we go. All right, so I got one side at least. Gently wedge it in there, take your time, and I managed to get it. Pretty cleanly too, I might add. So remove the remainder of the adhesive from the battery, as we will be reinstalling new ones. But guys, there it is. The difficult stuff is done. So all we have left to do is take this Apple logo out, replace it, put the connector in there, and it should be good to go. All right, and to remove it, take a very, very thin flathead, and you can basically just wedge it underneath there. It's a very, very strong adhesive actually because of the water resistance. So it might take some time. Heating it would help. Go around and try not to deform it too much. I clearly am not taking my time here. All right, and there you have it. So your Apple logo, just like that. There is a very, very thin film on top of the Apple logo, so make sure to remove that and the little stem part up there before installing. And this is the part where you take your new Apple logo and we're going to position it so it fits right in there. So once you've got it in there, just go ahead and press down as there is that adhesive holding it. Now, if you want to ensure a 100% waterproofing solution, I would recommend some of this tape from 3M. It is waterproof, and just apply a single layer over it here, and it'll be just as good. So you'll have double layer protection. What I like about this is that it's a very, very clean white, and it's completely flush with the top of your phone. So no difference. It will feel completely OEM. So that's a good sign so far. Let's go ahead and install the light up module to see how this thing does. So I got it to work already. Just for your information, basically what you need to do is take the plug, put it on top of the plug for the battery, and then plug the battery straight into it. So this way you have a starting point of how it'll connect and sit right, and immediately you can tell if it's working. Now I'm doing a voiceover because my mic decided to stop working at this moment exactly, but it's a very simple install. Basically, align the Apple logo connector, sit it right on top of where the battery plugs into, and then plug the battery straight into that connector through the one on the Apple logo. It's a very simple install. Now, I didn't use any adhesive to hold the Apple logo thing in place, although you can. Basically, what I decided to do was just to put the battery adhesive on the back of the battery and stick it in place on top of the logo. Now, you'll notice that on the connector of the Apple logo cable, it's not completely flush, so you have to leave it sticking out, sitting on top of the logic board, and then press the battery down on the rest of the flat connector. So it's going to look just like this. It'll be sticking out at an angle, but that is perfectly normal. Of course, before setting the battery down with adhesive, make sure it is working, and then you can go ahead and press it firmly into place, and that way there's no play in the Apple logo. It'll look just like this when it's finished. It's a very easy way to plug it in. I like it a lot more than the standard one on the last 6S version where you had to plug it into the display. Anyways, with the battery, go ahead and stick the remainder of that onto the battery. It's not very clean here, but does the job. So overall, a much cleaner install versus the last version. And don't forget about the water resistance seal. So on the 7 and 7 Plus, buy one of these. It'll ensure that the water resistance goes nowhere and you still have it. Just go ahead and place it on top, press down into it, and then remove it, and you'll have that brand new seal. All right, so let's take a look at that final result. So this isn't reliant on the screen like any other versions that I have used, so it won't activate unless you want it to. That means you can turn it off at any time. That's kind of cool. Not something this one has. So although this one is nice and bright, it's much more even looking. This one can be turned off whenever. Plus it has cool strobe modes, and it's touch activated. Anyways, so tap to sort through the modes. Of course, the one I would be using is the standard iPhone one, just glowing like that. So let's take a look at the differences here. This one is much, much brighter. That may be a good or bad thing, depending on what you like out of your Apple logo. Although this one does still look good. For $15, it's hard to complain. Now, the cool thing about this one is you can adjust the brightness of the logo. So it's about the same brightness at about 1/3, or about 40% right there. So both look good. This one has a whole bunch of cool modes with it. If you wanted to signal for help, got lost in a jungle, you can do that here. Fade in, fade out is kind of cool as well. My camera doesn't show it very well. But there you go, guys. That is the final result. I gotta say, pretty cool. I did not expect this thing to have touch controls. I was just wondering why the heck it's freaking out and I can't get it to work, but turns out, you just need to touch it to get it to work. Double tap to go on and off. But guys, that is super, super cool. So there it is. Would I recommend it? I mean, if the functions I described are something you could live with, definitely. I wouldn't recommend doing this if you want to keep your warranty, because your warranty will go out the door as soon as you do this. But as the iPhone 7 approaches 1 year of age in September, I see a lot of people probably would want to do this more and more then. But for now, I mean, it is pretty cool just to see how it works and everything. But yeah, I would still recommend this one over that, and that's to get it installed by Trung. If you guys want to know how to do this, down below in the description there will be a link if you haven't seen it already. But there it is, the glowing Apple logo for the iPhone 7. I'll have the 7 Plus version soon with an even cooler one that I'll share with you guys in just a little bit here as soon as I receive it. Anyways, guys, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. Good luck if you do attempt to try this on your very own device. Peace.